soon as I clean up everything here in America, I'm being the real world champion. I can't let nobody control one of the rooms in my house, which is the world. I want to come.
What's up, y'all? Greetings, champs, chumps, the lazy, the crazy, and all the babies, y'all. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but I'm going to riff a little bit on fighters with vitriol. One of my buddies, he listened to one of the recent videos that we did, and he was saying, man, that's such a good word. He said, man, you should expound on that word vitriol. And in the ring, in the mat, in the octagon, in the pit, in the dirt, in the cage, wherever that you're having a contest with another man or another beast or animal or whoever you can, hopefully you're having physical contests with them and not women. All right, I'm speaking to the men at the moment. But whenever you're having that, you have to have a certain level of what the old school used to say, a piss in your veins, vinegar in your veins. And in this video, I'm going to highlight, I wrote down a few people, and the ones that come up, I'll just, just riff on it off the top of the head. I wrote down a few people or a few fighters who I think have the utmost vitriol, the utmost hate, disgust. They want to hurt you. They want to knock you out, possibly even kill you. And that's one of the things that a lot of us forget, especially fighters, ex-fighters, or spectators of the sport. At the end of the day, yes, this is a contest with rules, regulations, and you want things to be fair and hopefully no one gets killed, but that's the chance you take when you step into a combat arena. But at the end of the day, y'all, it's still a fight. Survival of the fittest. This is nature, man law. Sometimes you leave with your opponent's skull in your hands. Sometimes you leave and you return back to dust. Sometimes you leave, and your spirit leaves your body. At the end of the day, it's a fight. Blood, gore, war. The art of war. The art of war. The pinnacle of war, y'all, is to take a state still intact. That means you conquer someone's land without throwing a blow, without firing a shot. But when it comes down to combat, martial arts, which is you want to defeat someone as swiftly and as quickly as you can. The art of fighting. You want to hit your opponent or attack your opponent, preferably kill them, knock them out, disable them, but without them landing a shot or a blow on you. Anywho, the fighters with the most vitriol, y'all. I'm going to start off first with John Bones Jones, y'all. He smiles in his interviews. As a fighter, I love him. But as a person, he's really kind of two-faced, and just my personal opinion. He just seems like he's had some type of hate boiling underneath, some type of animosity, which I'm glad he chose fighting to unleash it. Guys like John Jones, if they weren't in combat sports, he'd probably be some type of scammer or some type of gorilla pimp, or I hate to say it, some type of wild shooter, or he'd probably be some type of Navy SEAL, or who knows. But in the ring, y'all, I can remember one fight he had with the deaf fighter, Matt Hamill, where he was doing all these sorts of illegal blows. Y'all remember that? He almost disfigured that man's face, and I think that's the only loss in his record. No, he had a DQ loss with him. I think he tested positive. But anywho, vicious blows, y'all. He does those shots where he's kicking at your shin and kicking your knee joint against itself, to hyperextend your knee. Just real mean, and he wants to end you. He goes in to punish you, knock you out. Y'all saw the behind the scenes when he was talking to Cormier. He said, man, I'll kill you, dog. I'll come over there, I'll kill you. Anywho, who else we got? Alex Pereira. The man comes to the ring doing a war chant, a war dance. And those left hooks, he's a little bit more controlled. Well, John Jones is controlled too, but just the vitriol, the intent of the devil is in all his blows. Alejandro Pereira, man, he's vicious, and I respect that about him. He keeps his control. I'm glad we have combat sports, combat arts, and and the military and other places where men can take out their, how can I say, their frustration, or allow their built up testosterone and unleash it on the world like a wild beast, like a wild spirit. I appreciate the combat arts for that, because that's what I did in the combat arts. It was a great release after the troubles of the day, the troubles of life, and you go into the practice room, man, and not to hurt, but you never want to go full speed in the practice room, by the way, y'all. You got to learn how to spar. But you get to unleash a lot of that, a lot of the stuff that goes on in your life, a lot of that energy, a lot of that you want to cuss out a teacher, somebody cut you off, silly stuff. You got fired from your job, and that frustration, instead of going in the corner crying, instead of quitting, instead of punking out, chumping out, you find somewhere positive where you can unleash all that. All right, next up, who we got? Roberto Duran, Hands of Stone. You want to talk about a guy who took pleasure in punishing his opponents. I mean, a mauling type guy. Vitriol, y'all. And if you know Spanish, and if you've seen some of his post-fight interviews, I mean, Duran, this the real mean and nasty guy in the ring. You won't want to see him in a back alley or as a bouncer at the club. He's probably one of the dudes that would throw you out, kick you in the gut, and stomp your head a few times, maybe even kill you. These fighters, their hands and feet are licensed to kill. Who else we got? Oh, a young George Foreman. Not the old George Foreman. Now, the old George Foreman was controlled.
He told me he was prettier than me, and I have to change all of that.
He was controlled violence. An old George. But a young George Foreman, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but Richard Pryor did a stand-up. He was saying something to the effect that once the bell rings and George Foreman sees his opponent, he goes in there to kill. Just a big, rough, tough, good old country, push you around, knock you in the head, hit you in the head as you fall in, bop you again, just blows, just crushing power. George Foreman, I'm sure he's knocked out teeth, knocked people silly, unconscious, and enjoyed doing it. And loved doing it. The young George Foreman was a monster. And I can see why a lot of fighters, I'm not going to call any names, didn't want to fight him even in his older age. Because he was still Big George. Powerful. Immense. Hulk-like strength. I don't know if I've ever seen him. No, yeah, the young George Foreman did hit the canvas. But man, he can absorb a lot of pain, and he gave out just as much. And the way he will be frowning, and if you go back and look at some of his footage, the stare downs, he'd be frowning like he's just waiting to unleash fury on you. A man with vitriol in the ring. Something you need. Better when it's controlled, but definitely something you need to combat against these other great fighters out here.
I had one hell of a rumble. I had to beat Tarzan's behind first for claiming to be the king in the jungle.
We got Kevin Holland. Now, I kind of should have put him in the special mentions, but y'all, Kevin Holland's stand-up, how can I say, just observing him, he throws his punches with a lot of fury. His stand-up now, because his ground game isn't that good, but as a stand-up fighter, man, he throws his punches with a lot of fury. He's really trying to knock your block off. These guys like Kevin Holland and someone else I got on the list, Fernando Vargas. I don't know if they were, maybe they had troubled childhoods, maybe they were abused, but these guys, you could tell they unleashed that in the ring. A lot of old folks say that, be careful of the way that you fight. A lot of old trainers, be careful of the way that you fight. Be careful of the way you compete, because that's the way you live your life. So these dudes come in and they show them true selves. You get to see a man's true spirit in a good fight or in a good contest. And that's what I see in Kevin Holland, because he's very confident in his stand-up. Who else we got? Fernando Vargas. Oh, man, I used to love Fernando Vargas. Real Mexican, man. You know what I'm saying? La raza, olale. Shout outs to Fernando Vargas, man. I used to enjoy his fights. He came in with a whole bunch of spit and piss. He had some great fights, man, like with Tito Trinidad, which he got TKO'd in the 12th round. He came in there. And he's one of the fighters, y'all, where I could say his anger through his fighting style, he burned a lot of energy, especially late in his career. And that was a big one versus Oscar. Now I was neutral versus y'all know I love Oscar. I love Oscar De La Hoya, man, as a fighter, man. You know, I love Boston. But that one I was neutral in. But his other fights, I usually rooted for Fernando Vargas. I so did. I really enjoyed watching his style, man. Going there, seeking destroy, homing missile. Going there, try to. But later in his career, man, I think he lost to Mayorga and maybe Sugar Shane. I can't really remember, but he had a short career. Maybe he fought. Oh man, I should have wrote this stuff down. Maybe he fought 35, 36 times, 28, 29 wins. Anywho, who next we got on here?
I'm busy knocking out all of these bums. I don't have time to draw.
One of my favorites, y'all, Luis Alberto Lopez Vargas. You want to talk about a guy who leaves it all in the ring. Unorthodox. I mean, you can compare him to a lot of unorthodox fighters like a Pacquiao, a Roy Jones Jr., a Prince Nassim Ahmed, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker, because he's very awkward. But those guys, in my opinion, were more spirited in their assault. Luis Alberto Lopez is more mean-hearted, and he's well conditioned. I mean, he enjoys punishing you. Like the way he throws punches and walks through a lot of his opponents' attack, man, it's just, I'm like, wow, he's a very special fighter, and he wants to hurt you. He really wants to hurt you, man. And I'll say that about short people. Y'all know short folks, y'all. Short people got no reason. Y'all know short people, man. They always come in with a chip on their shoulder. What they call it, the Napoleon complex, where I guess they've been picked on all their life. If y'all notice, they usually have larger than life attitudes, larger than life charisma, larger than life. Shorter people just they a little bit more fiery, from my experiences. I'll just speak for me, than average height or taller folks. You know, isn't it crazy how the world works? How you'll have the gentle giant, and then you'll have the short, fiery, you know, attitude, ready to pop off, ready to smack you in the head, short man or short person. There's a dude I work with, and we always tell him, we're like, man, we glad you ain't 6 foot. He's 5'6". It's like, man, because if you were 6 foot, you'd be a straight menace around here. I mean, he's mean as hell. I mean, mean as a rattlesnake, y'all. Mean as a wet hornet. I mean, he'll threaten to fight you. He'll fight you. He got weapons. I mean, maybe getting smacked in the head in middle school. Just, I don't know. Anyway, but you'll see that with a lot of short folks, especially in the ring, in combat. Ooh, this is one of my favorites, y'all. Back in the day, y'all remember Pride? Wanderlei the Axe Murderer Silva. You want to talk about a dude that went in there, I don't know if he was jacked up off life, I don't know if he was drinking that Brazil guava, lava, kava juice, or eating cocoa leaf. That dude in Pride used to come in there on the, I mean, his nickname is the Axe Murderer. Those knees, y'all, the way he used to come in there and assault fighters. Just pure violence. Wanderlei Silva, y'all. I remember them Pride days, man. In Pride, remember, you could stomp heads, you could jump and try to stomp it. Woo! Yeah, those some good fights. If you young, go and check out some of his older fights from Pride. By the time he got to UFC, he was already washed up. Toy Machon, a lightweight fighter, one of my favorite lightweight fighters, if not my favorite lightweight fighter. Lightweight, y'all, is like the Burmese version of Muay Thai kickboxing, but it's a little bit more vicious because headbutts are legal. They call Muay Thai the science of the 8 limbs, but lightweight is the science of the 9 limbs, or Muay Boran is the science of the 9 limbs. The 9th limb being your head. It's head, fists, feet, knees, and bows. Those are the 9 limbs. The Muay Thai is the 8 limbs because you can't use it. But man, he's another guy that will pound you to the body. Enjoy seeing you get down. You get up, you holding your stomach, you hurt, he comes over and pounds on you again. I mean, literally beat you into submission. Shout out to Toy Machon. Dang, it's thundering outside. Well, good, my plants needed, y'all. Who else we got on this list? Eric Ersch. I don't know how I put him on here, but y'all know him as Butterbean. Butterbean. Do y'all remember Butterbean, man, with those tough man contests? That's one guy who was kind of a street fighter turned pro who threw all of his punches with bad intentions. For what I can remember, he wasn't mobile. He was real tough, short, built like a refrigerator, a box truck. But he just threw all of his punches with bad intentions. And it's kind of similar to a Mike Tyson. Almost all his punches that he threw were power punches. Mean dude in the ring, y'all. We want to see it. He lost a lot of weight, by the way. But Butterbean, y'all, Eric Hirsch. And the last person I got on here is Nigel Benn, the Dark Destroyer. I don't know what that dude been through, man. But that dude was a wrecking ball in the ring. Kind of like unleashing his fury, unleashing his madness, unleashing chaos in the ring. He was just what can you say? I mean, his nickname is the Dark Destroyer. I mean, where you from? The Nether Realm? The Dimension X? I mean, you one of the dudes from Ninja Turtles? I mean, the dude went in there and he fought hard. I mean, and in return, he got hurt a lot, but he hurt a lot of people. His style was, he was kind of awkward too. I mean, look, anybody on the pro level is got to be somewhat good defensively, but for his offensive, coming to kill you, lop your head off, decapitate your head style, he sure took a lot of punishment. But the way he had approached the sport, man, was definitely one of a lot of vitriol. As a matter of fact, there was a documentary where he's the one that ended the G-Man's career, Gerald McClellan. And I think he helps pay for his amenities and stuff for him to live. You know, it's a beautiful story. But yeah, the Dark Destroyer. All right, now y'all, I got some special mentions. Mike Tyson. You know, Mike Tyson and the younger Mike Tyson was controlled fury. He really wanted to hurt you. I mean, you heard his press conference interviews. He wanted to knock your nose into your brain. He wanted to eat your babies. And even though he don't get credit for being a good defensive or smart fighter, but he really wanted to hurt you in the ring. He said the pain that y'all gave. I remember one interview, he said the pain that the society gave him, he wants to give back. He wants to kick your children in the nuts. He says something crazy like that. But we all have these moments. But Mike Tyson, I put him as a special mention because later in his career, man, he kind of lost focus in his fights, and then he just didn't really have it they took a lot of his career away with the false imprisonment. Anywho, next special mention, I got one of my favorites all time, y'all. I know y'all gonna get mad. The Bronze Bomber. Ill will intentions with the right hand. Not the most skilled heavyweight, not the most skilled fighter, but man, he said he wanted to catch a body in the ring. And man, it looked like in a lot of those fights. Did y'all see those fights when he knocked people out and they would convulse on the mat? Or they'll be laying there slumped, Bermain Stavern, they legs bent all up under, they tucked under their behind. I mean, he might not have been a well-trained boxer, but as a fighter, Deontay Wilder's one of those dudes you wouldn't want to see him on the battlefield. Let's say this is ancient, Nubia or Mesopotamia. He's the type of guy that was one of those giants that had a lance or a spear, and he was one of those one-hit kills. In a war, you want to avoid him and attack from angles. One lance hit, I mean, he's piercing, he's knocking a lung out. One hit with the sword, he's decapitating your head. These are one of these big giant men that are they shedding blood, they drinking your blood, dog. They want to crush you. Deontay Wilder. Who else I got on here as a special mention, y'all? We got Terrible Terry Norris. Terrible Terry Norris, y'all. Who else do you know with a nickname Terrible besides Ivan the Terrible in history? And he was impaling folks all through they backside, but Terrible Terry Norris, he's another guy. Now, y'all, I remember I wasn't aware of his career, even though I watched a few of his later fights in his later career because of Mike Tyson in the early 90s. But he fought a lot of the greats of his time. I watched up Sugar Ray Leonard. I want to say he fought Julian the Hawk Jackson. he was a guy that he could box, but man, he was mean. Matter of fact, there was one fight, y'all, that he knocked the dude out by hitting him, like he rabbit punched him so hard in the back of the head. I think he got DQ'd. I mean, terrible Terry Norris. He's another mean-spirited, went in there, and he enjoyed dishing out punishment on your behind. Who else I got, y'all? Yeah, shout outs to Lubbock, Texas. Terrible Terry Norris from Lubbock, Texas. You know what I'm saying? Had the little kid and play box fade with the part. Who else I got on here? Oh yeah, Julian the Hawk Jackson. Now, even though he seemed calm and cool and collected, kept a straight face, and y'all, when you got bombs, when you got explosives, when you got an ogre in both of your hands, y'all, it was just hard for me not to put him on the special, at least a special mention. He seems cool and like a loving father, but in the ring, you got to switch, y'all. You got to go into war mode, and Julian Jackson did that, y'all. Y'all seen the knockouts, man. Those knockouts are amazing, petrifying, to say the least. Who else I got on here? Oh, shout outs to the Murderers Row, y'all. One of boxing's most infamous groups of fighters, the Murderers Row, or as y'all know, the Black Murderers Row. Now, I've seen just a small bit of film on them. A lot of it's black and white. Probably a lot of it is up under the Smithsonian, or a lot of it wasn't videotaped. But I'm going to name two fighters off the Murderers Row specifically. Now, I don't know this to be a fact, but in reading about them, because of their punching prowess, and I can imagine, since all the champions of the day, y'all, were dodging them, all the top contenders were dodging them, so they wound up fighting each other a lot, or lesser competition. Now, shout outs to Archie Moore. He fought a few of the brothers from the Murderers Row. Sugar Ray Robinson fought Aaron Wade from the Murderers Row, and fighters like Randy Turpin and I want to say Jack Dempsey sparred. They used them as sparring partners, training partners for their fights, but they will never give them the actual fight. Anywho, the two fighters that I put on special mentions from the Murderers Row are Jack Chase and Eddie Booker. Powerful punchers, and you know, y'all, you doing this every day. This is your profession. You're at the top of your class. You're at the top of the food chain in actuality, but you're really not, because no one's giving you the chance. That's a great reason to go in there and unleash on any opponent that you see in front of you. Black, white, brown, purple, red, yellow. You want to go in there and unleash. And from what I've read, Jack Chase and Eddie Booker were like that from the Murderers Row, the Black Murderers Row.
Keep dancing, champ. You looking good, champ. Dance, champ.
I guess I could have put fighters on here like a younger Pacquiao or Marvin Hagler, but to me, they didn't fight with that I want to kill you type spirit. They were more spirited fighters. They were more warrior-like fighters. You know, they were more warlike, like, I want to go to war. And they, did what they had to do just to down their opponent, just to defeat their opponent. So I would call them more spirited. I wouldn't call them as mean-hearted and full of disgust and you know what I'm saying, and grit, like I had the fighters I had on the first list.
When he's ready to punch, move in. Stick.
Now, y'all, this last list I got is let's see. Okay, the slick and chippy fighters. Like, these are the fighters that were engaged in dirty tricks or dirty tactics. They were skilled. They were slick. They could box. They had high IQs, but they were slick, chippy, used all the dirty tactics they could use. They thumb you in the eye. Back when the thumb wasn't attached to the glove. The referee come break you up. They take a step behind the referee so you couldn't spot them. Then they step opposite and bing, hit you with a punch. They duck, they parry or slip one of your punches, duck down into your chest, grab you behind the waist, get beside you, go try to turn you around, hit you in the back of the head, you turn around, boom, boom. They knew how to find your kidney, punch you in the kidney, punch you in the sternum. A lot of them do all types of slick stuff, y'all. They tired, they out of breath, low blow you, you know, flush it. You can have an appointment. Let me get this break right here. Low blow you, take a few minutes so you can get your breath together while they get their breath together. Punch you in the legs, punch you in the arms. Muhammad Ali was known for this. You get into the clinch, they hanging on the back of your head. These slick little dirty, chippy, dirty tactics that muddle the line between legal and illegal. But we must remember, this is a fight, y'all. It's not anything goes, but it is anything goes, because it's a daggone fight. And on this list, y'all, who I got on this list? Oh, wow, one of the greatest of all time at doing it. Fritzy Civic, who was undisputed welterweight champion. He fought the likes of Henry Armstrong, the late great Henry Armstrong. Shout outs to him. Terrence Crawford is approaching history if he becomes undisputed in the third weight class, like the late great Henry Armstrong did. He fought Fritzy Civic also fought Sugar Ray Robinson.
If you talk about me, I'll cut it 3.
And Sugar Robinson said he wanted to beat down Fritzy Civic because how cheap and dirty he was against aging Henry Armstrong. Who else we got on here? We got Archie Moore, the old mongoose. Everybody knows about Archie Moore's antics, y'all. Pre-fight, weigh-in, and in the ring. He's just a real slick, smart, outsmart you, outclass you, and will be chippy with you too type of fighter. Got to give up to the old mongoose, y'all. I was about to say a living legend. A late, great, legendary. I think he's recorded as having the most knockouts. And you got to be, you got to have a level of vinegar to knock out that many people, man. Especially as long as his career span.
I told you, I'm the real champion.
What else we got? B-Hop, the executioner. Y'all want to talk about some slick tricks and some dirty tactics. B-Hop, y'all, he might be king of them all. Y'all seen B-Hop's fights, man. B-Hop punch you in the throat. B-Hop a kidney punch you. B-Hop find slick ways to headbutt you. B-Hop will twist you around. B-Hop will, I remember this one of those dirty tricks our coach used to show us. B-Hop will get in close, step on your toe, and then while you can't pivot left or right, whichever way that you react to him stepping on your toe when you're trying to move, bow, he'll bing you. All type of B-Hop, how do you say B-Hop had a trick bag, yo? He had a large trick bag. Oh, the late great Sandy Saddler, one of my favorites, y'all. I did a few film studies on him, and man, not only was he a great boxer, see, to be the best, y'all, the best usually have a bag full of tricks. They usually have another skill set, because especially in today's day and age, and I'm not going to call no names on this video, but you see fighters that are real good, or they have, I wish Deontay Wilder would have picked up some of these tricks, or they have equalizing power, or they have enormous power, or they're very fast. See, when you add in tactics like these little slick and chippy tactics, not only are you able to compete with everyone, but it gives you an edge against everyone. Now, I'm not saying they're right, but fighters like Sandy Saddler, I mean, he was the undisputed featherweight or lightweight champion of his day. And him and Willie Pep also. Willie Pep should be on this list because he had a lot of slick tricks too. You got to have a sort of edge, a sort of, not necessarily mean, even though these guys were mean. They did want to hurt you. They did want to hurt you. But you got to have a certain edge to you, y'all, when you're fighting the best. And a guy might be faster than you, so you got to put water in the basement. You might low blow him. You might punch his legs, punch his knees, punch his thighs. A guy might have a lot of energy. You might, boom, hit him in the sternum. You in the clinch, you backing out the clinch. Our coach used to show us another move where you dig your chin into your opponent's clavicle and collarbone and rub it in. While he's doing that, or if you're doing that, and on the break where the ref can't see a blind spot, boom, you punch him in the kidneys. Guy comes in low, you headlocking him, you holding his head down, you give him a little slick uppercut on the break. I mean, these little tricks, y'all, they seem dirty, but it's a fight. And if they're within the rules, I say all for it. And sometimes they're outside of the rules, and sometimes you're trying to get a guy back for the dirty stuff that he's been doing that the ref didn't see. There's a lot of things. I'm not saying it's wrong or it's right, but I enjoy watching it with the intelligence of these men, with the skill of these men, the techniques of these men. I enjoy watching it, especially if they win or if they meet their match, like how Sonny Sadler did a few times with Willie Pep, even though he used to beat the crap out of Willie Pep. I think he 4-on-1 versus Willie Pep. So I put Willie Pep on there because he was slick and chippy too, y'all. Keyshawn Davis, one of the younger guys, he's real chippy. He's actually a good boxer, but man, he don't let nothing slide. You hold on too long to him in the clinch, he gonna punch you in the ear. You go down too low, he gonna shove your head down to the ground. If you try to hang on his head, he's gonna pick you up in the air. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I like that about Keyshawn Davis. Don't let that joker get away with nothing. It's a fight, and you're trying to destroy him. Who else was chippy like that, y'all? Let's see. Harry Greb, I've heard, was real slick and chippy like that. Excuse me. I heard that Jack Dempsey was real slick and chippy like that. I heard he would rub his forearm in your chin or in your throat, like how Floyd Mayweather used to do off his shoulder, off his Michigan, his shell defense. Keep that shoulder up high, then you try to come in attack, put that forearm right in your throat, which I think is within the rules. I really do think it's within the rules. Who else is slick and chippy like that? John Jones, y'all. I keep thinking about him because a lot of fighters say, like, man, he does stuff that is legal, but man, he's trying to end your career, like the kicking your shins, the back foot to the shin and to your knee, the hyperextend your knee. Like John Jones, man, he just seem like the type of guy. If it was within the rules, he'd thumb you in the eye, man. He'd thumb you in the eye. He'd twist your ear. I mean, John Jones, he's got how can I say? He wants to annihilate you, and that's probably why he's arguably the best to ever do in the UFC, man. Because his only losses were, one was a DQ, and one was he tested for something. But then he still came back and whooped. I think it was shoot. He's a grappler too. I should know this, y'all. What's the guy he whooped 2-3 times? One time he knocked him out. DC. Was it Donald Cavassier? Well, what's the big guy, y'all? Y'all know what I'm talking about. He's a commentator now for UFC. And one of those fights, John Jones tested positive for something, but he wound up beating DC, man. He wound up beating him. He has a French name. It's not Courvoisier. Man, I'm tripping. Y'all, this is gonna kill me if I don't know it, so I'm gonna look it up right here.
As long as I tell the truth, that's all that counts. Really? The rest of the shit don't mean nothing.
Oh, Cormier. Man, I should have known that, y'all. Because we were grappling around the same time that he got on the Olympic ladder. But yeah, but Daniel Cormier. Yeah, yeah, who else is slick and chippy and kind of dirty? Y'all can remember there was a fighter back in the 90s with shoot fighting, and before UFC was around, but it's before UFC had weight classes. He got kicked out of UFC, then he went to Pride. I can't remember his name, but I remember he gouged the guy so much that he went blind in that eye. Back when shoot fighting was big, you know, Dan Severn and all them. But anywho, y'all, if y'all got any other mentions or fighters that fight with a lot of vitriol, y'all throw them in the comments. Shout them out to me. I'm trying to think of some while I'm still here before I get off of here. Those are pretty much the ones I can think about. But yeah, y'all, cheers to y'all. Much love, peace, prosperity. Y'all, for y'all, man. May y'all have a beautiful day. May y'all have a productive day. And we'll holler on the flip side, y'all. What fighters do you like that fight with a lot of angst and urgency to kill you, to hurt you? What fighters do y'all like? Bye, we'll holler on the flip side, y'all. Peace.
I was staggered, but I just put emphasis on it because it's what you call playing possum. When you do that, it makes a man figure, well, he's not going to trick me. I'm not going to walk into nothing.